Hello, it's Jeff Rudd here. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Sunday Statement, 31st of November 2019. Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, trying to defend yet another Fine Gael TD, Darragh Murphy, has stated that the record shows that he attended the Dáil and was present in Leinster House for at least 120 days last year, and that's the amount required under the law. Leo says Darragh Murphy is not going to be tried by any media. Well, it's not my intention to trial anyone, but it is my intention to look and state facts, and they are as follows. 1. The Cork North Central TD has been in Leinster House for 24 days out of 70 in the last 9 months. 2. He has been present by fobbing himself in 42 days out of 104 days during the whole of 2018. 3. The former Minister of State has been based in Brussels for the last 2 years, where he has a full-time paid position as Director of Elections for the European People's Party for most of that time. It is the centre-right political grouping in the EU of which Fine Gael is a member. 4. He's only been present for only 32% of votes since mid-2017. 5. Mr Murphy has not spoken in the Dáil since December 2017. 6. Mr Murphy has only spoken once at a committee in the last 2 years. 7. Mr Murphy has submitted a total of 7 parliamentary questions during 2018 and 2019, compared to hundreds submitted by most of his colleagues. 8. Mr Murphy has drawn his full TD salary of €94,500 plus parliamentary standard allowances totalling €51,600 per annum since taking up his job with the EEP in September 2017 in Europe. 9. His very low attendance record still allowed him to draw a full parliamentary and travel allowance of an additional €4,300 per month, even if he wasn't actually in the country, thus not travelling to and from the Dáil to his Irish home location. 10. To receive the full travel and accommodation, TTA as it's more formally known, portion of his disallowance worth €31,500 for a Cork-based TD, Mr Murphy is required to clock in at Leinster House using an electronic fob for at least 120 days in a full year. He has officially just got that exact number in order to get his TAA. He has done his fobbing on non-sitting days, often when returning from or going to other EU countries, usually on Mondays, Thursdays and Fridays. 11. As a departing TD, Mr Murphy will also be entitled to severance payments under Oireachtas rules. According to those rules of the Oireachtas members, they get their pensions, termination entitlements and more. Mr Murphy will be entitled to a termination lump sum, generally equating to 2 months' salary and months' payments for 6 months of 75% of their salary. In a nutshell, these are the core facts. What we have, by many opinions expressed to others and indeed to myself, is another TD example of being an invisible person at their supposed workplace but still getting paid serious money for not actually being there. Leo Varadkar has stated he sees nothing wrong with all this, with the regular missing in action TD, and he also fobbing himself at work when there is also no days of the Dáil actually sitting. Mr Varadkar went on to say that Mr Murphy has been present for key votes, even if that number is something you can count on with 2 hands, or possibly even 1. Leo Varadkar sees nothing wrong in this at all, but then he wouldn't because there's a bigger picture which we'll come to shortly. It's only my own opinion or thoughts, but isn't a TD hired to represent his local people also? How can they do that if they are missing in action a vast majority of the time, off in Europe? Mr Varadkar has gone on to say, but his main job has been a European job in the last 2 years and he's done that extremely well. Well, hang on a goddamn minute. His main job? Promoting the EPP and Fine Gael within it is not carrying out a nation's business or even addressing any critical issues that Fine Gael has made a complete balls of this last 8 years, or addressing the local man's constituency issues. What he was doing in Europe was his own private PR gig for a group that had nothing to do with the people that actually voted for him, and who were thus his employers, who he was supposed to be working full time for, not swanning off to Europe on someone else's desires and gig. Leo Varadkar says this is alright though. Additionally, you're not supposed to cop all this bigger picture crap. You're just supposed to stupidly swallow Leo Varadkar's latest dose of inaccurate PR to yet save another Fine Gael backside. Dosed out to save all the pay, perks and multiple pensions to boot that many gain. If by Leo Varadkar's standards Darren Murphy's European PR gig was his main job, what does that make his elected dull job? Just a bit of a gig on the side? And for that he should get a whopping massive expenses for vast majority not being there. A part-time gig that pays 3 to 4 times the national yearly wage of an average worker, far more slaving away all year. This is really taking the piss out of taxpayers and also trying to pull the wool over the eyes of a nation. It gets even better though. When it comes to creative accounting, and we know from JobPath and many fraudulent PR numbers supplied to the public in relation to that continuing national scandal that is buried, Fine Gael are playing footloose with Mr. Murphy's qualifying numbers so he may gain his huge monthly bonus and justify himself, but more importantly, others to still gain the similar payments. This is an even greater, bigger picture which most people, in other words citizens of Ireland, are not meant to cop, and certainly Fine Gael are in no hurry to publicise them. Let's be clear here. Last year, despite attending the Dáil for just 42 out of 104 sitting days, the Cork North Central managed to make it into Leinster House and fob himself, in other words register his presence, on 78 non-sitting days, thus reaching the holy grail of 120 supposed working days required to collect travel and accommodation allowances. Creative accounting? I'll leave that for you to decide. Do you think this is all okay? Leo Varadkar and Fine Gael think that this is all fine and dandy. They would, for obvious reason. They need the payments to keep coming to their fellow colleagues. All this says a lot about them. It also says a hell of a lot about how stupid they are seeing the rest of the public. The public are just expected to keep paying every tax, VAT, levy, charge and anything else they can slap on you overtly and covertly so they can live in higher luxury. And don't get me started about Leo's own Croatia PR trip that has cost the people of Ireland an additional 31,000 alone. Just keep paying those taxes and stupidly keep voting for Fine Gael. Move along, there's nothing here to see. This is Jeff Rudd, signing off.